Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have a Pint. Today we have Black O Lantern from, well, I guess it's technically a Black O Lantern Pumpkin Stout from Wasatch Brewing. It says it's an Imperial or Double Stout, but this next stat is going to make me question the Imperial part. 6.5% alcohol. I've had regular stouts bigger than that, so... In fact, I just had a single IPA to start the day that was 6.7%. It wasn't a double or an Imperial IPA. 14 IBUs. 3.66 is the average rating on Untapped. There is a different description both on the can and Untapped, so I will read both. On Untapped, it says a rich pumpkin stout featuring hints of cinnamon, ginger, molasses, vanilla, and allspice. It sounds amazing. Show more. That's it. I like how it says ... and there's nothing else. It says Black O Lantern Pumpkin Stout from the depths of our fermentation cellar. This beer started out as our brewer's favorite blend, mixing Imperial Stout with pumpkin ale to create this terrifyingly delicious pumpkin stout. So, I mean, there was a beginning that was an Imperial Stout, but that doesn't mean this is. To me, Imperial starts like at 7.5, 8. So you need another percent or 1.5% for this to be Imperial. But since it says Imperial, I'm going to do a hard pour. Oh, that looks so good. I love dark beer. And next year I will be doing Epic Blackout Stout from Brickway. It came out like 3 or 4 months before I started the channel. I think when I had it, I had been starting to contemplate doing one. Oh, good. They have to have their backup quarterback in for this 4th and goal. It didn't matter that they scored a touchdown. Son of a bitch. But there's a flag. There's a flag. Please be on 49ers, because it's funny. We were the biggest, baddest beast there had ever been in the first half. We scored 35 points. Since then, we got 5 minutes left in the 4th. We've scored 3 points. And they haven't punted yet. Maybe it was offensive pass interference. Oh, he did not have that ball. He had initially caught it, but the defender knocked it out of there to where it was jumbling around. Nice. So they're going to go for the field goal because that penalty was on them. So they're back at a 4th and 15 or so. 17. All right. Sorry. No more distraction. The game's over. I'm happy. I don't have to worry. But that's what we do. That's what the Chiefs do. It's what we've always done. And I had a person tell me earlier today when I went out for a little bit, oh, the Chiefs look really good. And I'm like, yeah, they do. They always do, and then they screw up. He was talking about, he mentioned last year, I was like, yeah, we did great last year until we went to the playoffs, and then we fucked everything. And he was like, well, it doesn't look like that this year. I'm going to reserve judgment on that because we always do. So mostly small, tightly laced bubbles. Darker head, but typical for a darker beer. Oh my goodness, I love that. Big, roasty, almost smoked flavor nose to this. Do I get pumpkin though? Yeah, I get a little pumpkin, but the biggest thing is that roasty malt. It's almost smoked flavor. Oh my goodness. Oh. You are a complaint artist, aren't you? Are ya? It is 3:07 p.m. You have little less than 45 minutes till you eat. You will be fine. I promise. I said I promise you will be fine. You are not going to die of starvation in the next 43 minutes. If that was the case, you'd probably have been comatose by now. Don't eat your leg. She's going to eat her leg, apparently. Oh, this is good, though. Like, it kind of sneaks up on you. And I like that. Like, up front, there's not much going on. There's a lot of pumpkin and smoked in the tail end, though. Alright, no jaw-jacking. Shut the hell up. We've won it. Don't do anything that's going to cause us to not. There's a sweetness up front. The only thing I pick up is at the end you get some smoke and some pumpkin. Vanilla up front. That's the sweetness I'm getting. And the molasses. Hey, baby. I think I get a little bit of cinnamon and like that allspice in the middle. Yeah. So it's the vanilla and molasses up front, but it's very mild. And it's more like the cinnamon and allspice in the middle. I don't get the ginger anywhere, but it could be there. And on the end, it's smoked and it's pumpkin and it's beautiful. Third and 12. What the fuck have we done on this drive that I haven't been paying attention to? Yep. Pass interference flag. Oh, you can be pissed all you want, but Witherspoon interfered with that catch. 9 times out of 10, that's always going to get called on the D. They can be mad all they want. But, so I've been promising you guys a top 25 for college football. Gotcha. I whipped one up. So it doesn't take long because I know the games. I know what's happened. I remember shit. I sometimes have lapses, but... And if I have somebody ranked above somebody else that had, the lower ranked team had beaten the other one, I'm not too upset about that. Because I genuinely feel like where I have teams ranked is where I feel like they need to be. I'm not even going to say the name of the person. I'm not even going to say the name of the team that I have at number 1, because everybody's going to know who the fuck it is. The reasoning for that, I haven't seen a goddamn weakness in their team all fucking year. And I've heard others say that. Their passing game is strong, their running game is strong, their offensive line is fucking beastly. That quarterback is incredible, and he's a fucking true freshman, and I fucking hate it. That defense is stellar, stopping the run, stopping the pass, uh, you know, taking down the quarterback. Special teams is good. I wouldn't be able to point to you a weakness on that Alabama team. It all looks absolutely incredible. And I got and number 2 Clemson. They're spotty sometimes offensively. They're spotty sometimes defensively. I have not been able to say that, unfortunately, about the other team yet this year. And I have at number 3 Georgia. Number 4 I have Ohio State, and number 5 I have Oklahoma. And I would say that's like they're in a tier all themselves. Like the number 1 is on a tier of their own, but like 2 through 5 I feel like is on a tier above everybody else. Now it's looking like who I have at number 6, which is LSU, could be in that second tier group of teams. So they have looked fucking stellar this year. They started preseason ranked number 25. They look absolutely fucking stellar. Oh, that pumpkin's actually all the way through. Everything else is exactly what I said, but pumpkin's all the way through. It's just background for the first, or for the front of the palette in the middle. Number 7, I have Penn State. They're still damn good. Actually, at number 8, I have UCF. And if I would have been doing this from preseason, I would have had them higher and slowly trickled them down. Just because it's the same thing Boise always struggled with. It's the same thing TCU struggled with before they entered the Big 12. It's the same thing all those teams struggle with. It necessarily no fault of their own. But, I mean, it kind of is. Because during the regular season, you don't play many good teams. So, if you're not winning every game by like 40 plus points, you're not going to be up there. And they haven't done that with every game yet this year. Now, granted, they've blown out every team, but it's not been by 40 plus. So I probably would have started them at like number 2 or 3, maybe 4. And it probably would have just shifted down every week. But I mean, you have to have them up there. I don't understand why they're only just inside the top 15 or just outside, depending on the poll you look at. Excuse me. Because at the end of the day, UCF is the only team that can say that they haven't lost since December 17th of 2016. Yeah, Alabama didn't go undefeated last year, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alabama lost last year. They didn't go undefeated. I mean, I do understand why UCF was never in the national title picture. Oh, sorry. But if that game against Auburn that they played at the end of the year would have been during the regular season, say that would have been their final game of the regular season, I think they would have had a chance to get in. But because that had to be their bowl game, they didn't have a shot of getting in. They didn't. They look good enough to be there. It doesn't mean they were going to get in. Number 9, I have Stanford. And I have them lower than everybody else because they barely squeaked by Oregon. I only have them like 1 or 2 spots shorter. Although Oregon's on this list. Then I have Notre Dame at number 10, and I hate to say that. I hate to say that as well. Washington, I have at number 11. I like Washington a lot. I think they have had their only lapse of the season. That loss. I don't think they would have had that loss later in the season. I think the only team they lose to at this point is Stanford. If they play during the regular season. I don't remember if they're in the same division or not. But then I have Auburn, who's looked really good. Something with the state of Alabama, apparently. Number 13, I have Michigan. Because, yes, they lost to Notre Dame. And they are still ranked under Notre Dame. But they look different than they did when they lost to Notre Dame. Now, granted, it was against Nebraska. It was against a Nebraska team that is not anywhere close to being there. But the way that game looked, Michigan could have easily have had it at about 73-0. Luna, be nice. I will beat you if I see that again. And not in a way you would like. She's weird. I'll probably just throw her in the cage because she hates that. Ooh, next week is Denver. We'll fuck them up. But yeah, that's why I have Michigan up there. And because I honestly like them better than any of the next like 3 or 4 teams. After them, I have West Virginia. I am not sold. I am not sold defensively on West Virginia. To me, they feel like one of those teams where they have to score like 50, 60 points to win for the most part. Now, if you have a team that has lapses offensively, big lapses, they might not necessarily have to do that. And then I have Wisconsin at 15th, because the only thing Wisconsin really has is a defense. They have a good running back when he is doing good. But he has to be doing good for them to be doing good offensively. And then at 16th, I have Kentucky. I have them a little bit higher because I am very high on Kentucky. They are doing things that nobody thought they would do. Now, will they stay there all year? I don't know yet. But that's where I'm going to have them for now. I have Miami at 17th just because they've had ups and downs this year. It hasn't been all high, but it hasn't been all low either. And I don't know, they might not even finish the season ranked. They've just been too inconsistent all year. Oregon at 18th. I would have had them higher, but then they had to go up against Stanford. Mississippi State at 19th, because they've done some good things. They got destroyed by Alabama, though. Oklahoma State at 20, but they suffer from the same thing West Virginia suffers from, what most of the Big 12 suffers from, no defense. Then at 21, I have Colorado, because they are still undefeated. As much as I dislike them, they are undefeated. Michigan State I have at 22nd. I'm not high on them, but it's about where I feel like they should be right now. Duke at 23. I have Syracuse at 24. Because I've actually been quite impressed with Syracuse thus far this year. And then I rounded it out with Texas A&M. I don't got a great reason. It's just I felt that they were better than anybody else I could have put at 25, including Texas. I'm still not sold on Texas. But that's it. That's what I got for that. Would I get this again? In a heartbeat. There's not a whole lot of pumpkin in this, but it's beautiful beer. I definitely still taste the pumpkin throughout, though, but it's not like pumpkin forward. To me, it's smoked forward, which I love that too. So I'm not going to knock it for something I love. And at the end of the day, it's a stout. It's not going to have one thing, that is up here and everything else down here. It's going to be more balanced, everything way up there. Rating. I'm going to go for a 4.25 just because with it being a pumpkin beer, you would want the pumpkin to be more out there, and it's not. So I'm going to knock it a little bit for that. If the pumpkin was more forward, it could get a 4.75. It could be that good if the pumpkin was a little more forward on it. But they already said it's a blend of an imperial stout and a pumpkin stout. So that pumpkin flavor is going to get kicked down. Now, if it was a blend of an imperial pumpkin stout and a pumpkin stout, then it maybe not. But it gets knocked a little bit for that. But that's all I have for this. You finally got my top 25, which I will update weekly. So, until next time, Prost.